Hello, my name is Gonzalo. I'm a postdoctoral researcher here in CENSAM, part of SMART, and I am the PI on the trace metals in the marine environment group. We work with trace metals, looking at concentrations of metals, sources of them, different sources, and industrial, natural, and some other sources that we can look at. And we look at the bioavailability of the metals. Meaning how much of a metal can be taken up by different organisms, including plants, fish, and ultimately us. We look at these things specifically we've been looking at mangroves around Singapore, looking at some that are more and less impacted. And then we've been looking at the coastal areas, and we have actually expanded the project towards Malacca Straits, to Singapore, to the South China Sea, and parts of Borneo. Trying to look at the same process and trying to see the connection of the Singapore with the regional environmental issues. Singapore is a particularly diverse and accessible place that allows us to look at many different sources, going from industrial to residential to agricultural. And we have been taking a variety of samples around here that include sediments from natural environments, soils from gas stations, aerosols, incinerator fly ash, urban runoff, and a large seasonal scheme of coastal water around Singapore. Understanding trace metals in the marine environment, and more so in an urban setting like Singapore, is essential because of two things: bioaccumulation of metals and toxicity. We know that trace metals bioaccumulate as the concentrations present in fish will be higher than the concentration in the surrounding waters. And the concentrations of metals that are available to us as we eat the fish can also be high, which can be a problem because of elements that are toxic. We are particularly investigating lead and cadmium, two toxic elements, as well as two others that help us understand the biological functioning of the system. Quantifying the amounts of these trace metals in and around Singapore will help us provide information to authorities so that they can make the right decisions and write the right policies. We are very excited to say that we are releasing a peer-reviewed journal paper summarizing all of our work on lead in Singapore very soon. And the main finding is that we have identified and quantified 3 sources of lead using isotopic ratios: natural lead, industrial lead, and historical remains of leaded gasoline. If there were any other sources, we will be able to identify and quantify it readily. What's next for us is to try to put all of the information we've gotten over the last few years together with collaborative effort with scientists that are specialized in corals. Corals are a great tool that we can use to look at the historical record of the concentrations and bioavailability of metals at different points in time. So we can know what concentrations and sources were present in times when there were less cars, when there were less industry, when there was less agricultural activity. And we can compare that to what we have right now. And we can be prepared for future case scenarios, including climate change and future development, which can be needs to be understood in terms of urban, industrial, and agricultural development.